Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, hi, it is audible. Anyone please reply?
Yes, Suren, it is.
That's it. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Suren Jaiswal, Managing Director of ACS Private Limited. And a very welcome to today's session on all about leadership, by Miss Josna Swal. Josna Swal, ma'am, is from Yokohama Tire. She is GMHR in Yokohama Tire. She is self-driven and innovative HR professional with approx 17 of experience in a seasoned professional with expertise in aligning corporate strategy and business unit goals. Ms. Josna worked in a various domains like admin, operation, training, and legal. Extensive experience in change management and engineering and merger and acquisition restructuring. So before further ado, I'll be starting this webinar. If anyone having any query, any question during this presentation, please type them into the chat box, Zoom chat box, and we'll bring them up during this presentation. And we will have time for question and answer at the end. So if you have any question, any answer, please ask in the end of this webinar. And without wasting your time, I would like to request Ms. Josna ma'am to proceed further, ma'am.
Thank you, Suren. Thank you so much. And I think you've spoken a little too much about me, then, but it's okay. Even if you're lying, I'll believe it. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Suren has already introduced my name, and I've been in Yokohama for the past 4 and a little more time. And I would say one thing before I start off with the presentation, that I'm definitely not here talking to you, all of you, in my personal capacity, but the virtue of the fact that I am sitting in a position which I'm very grateful to. I owe it to my organization that I have an opportunity to be addressing all of you, and especially on a Saturday, taking out time is a very big thing. And the other thing I would like to say is here that, I mean, when somebody say that you have to talk or you have to give a lecture on any topic, whether it is leadership or anything, these days we have information galore on Google. Anybody can, access Google or whatever, social media for any information. So it's like, why should anybody listen to what I have to say? Or why should anybody give time to something that I have to share? So gentlemen and ladies, I would like to say that words is all that I have to connect with you. And by the end of it, maybe even if one or two of you grasp something, or somebody, takes a point home that this makes sense, I will be grateful, and I would say that time well spent. So I think with that, Shireen, I'll request you to kind of put that small little presentation.
Oh, ma'am, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is visible, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think it's all about leadership, and it's like, how do I lead? So gentlemen, I'll be sharing my experiences and something that I believe in. So Suren, what is leadership? That's the first thing that comes into mind. So the next thing that comes to my mind is leadership means to lead. If you read about it, or you even read the best of quotations, or you go through leadership journals, or so much that has been written on it, the first thing that comes here is that leadership is all about leading your team. I mean, a task may be small, a task may be big, but it's all about how you lead your team. And before that, gentlemen, I'll also like to share with you this whole concept of leadership. Where did it come from? I mean, what is the origin of this concept of leadership? So gentlemen, I am proud to be a part of that family which say is the origin of leadership, and that's the army or the armed forces. Or before that, when we say that when there used to be wars or people used to be led to war. So leadership concept came from there. So like, it's very easy to say that, you know, people in the, I mean, even in the army, when they are going for war or whatever, it's like you're dying for your country. Gentlemen, it is not so, because you're generally dying for the person who's leading you. It is the faith that you have on that leader, and why you have that faith in that leader, that you're ready to give your life. It's all about that trust and faith, that credibility that the leader has earned, that you're ready to, you know, follow him wherever he takes you. And you know, in the bargain, especially in the war, that you're going to be killed too. So this whole concept was originated. And if quoting one of the best leaders that you say, they have been the warriors of past. Maharana Ranjit Singh has been rated in all over one of the best leaders the world in the 19th century ever heard of. We have the great Alexander, whatever. He kept the army or his forces 20 years away from his family. So they never went through courses. They never went through seminars. It is like they had those ingredients that we say makes a leader. So the first thing, like I said, I come back to that when I say leadership, it all means how you lead your people. Do they actually want to follow you? They believe what you're trying to tell them. They enjoy the task that you have given. And in the end, they actually feel they've done something. So Rain, the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go further than this. You can place all of them together. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, now this second thing which comes here is, how do I say, or how do I tell you about leadership? Like, for example, if somebody says, I'm honest, how do you know he's honest? Or how does she know that she's honest? I'm very trustworthy. How do you know that? So basically, it's either you've been there, you've done it, you've gone through it. So you say, like we say, example of I'm honest. If you got that opportunity, you had the opportunity to be corrupt, but you did not. You resisted that temptation. Then you can say, yes, I'm honest. So the same thing comes here is, as a leader, how do I say, or how do I tell you that, you know, what I'm saying is going to make sense? Am I a good leader? So there are a few things that I believe in, and that's what I place on the ground. And so far have not been disappointed. So the first word, gentlemen, that you see here is connect. There is nothing, and that's my belief, nothing in any organization, I can say with a lot of conviction, happens without connect. It may be at any level, it may be any industry, it may be all over the world. Till you connect, whether it's your team, whether it's your organization, people, a very small task can become very difficult. Gentlemen, I'm sure everybody would have had a few experiences on this. If you do not connect, a small task can take 6 months and result in disasters, whereas a very major task, very difficult task, which has everything going, you know, against the resources that you have. But if there is a connect with people that you're working, it gets solved in a jiffy. So with all the professionalism that people talk about, you'll be surprised. The recent studies that say is that people are coming back to that personal connect that makes all the difference. So that's what I mean by connect when I say that if you, the first thing as a leader, you should be able to connect with your people in the real sense and genuinely. not a facade, not to, show that you connect, but in the actual sense, things really become easy. I would not divulge too much on investment on talents. Like there is another thing that I believe in, that any person can work with brilliant people, very easy. Like as a teacher, if you have people scoring more than 93%, I mean, there's hardly much of work a teacher can do because the student is already intelligent, dedicated, etc. So it's very easy for any boss to be working with brilliant people. The worth of a good leader is that you bring up the average people doing miracles, coming on to a level that they are proud of in the end. So it's not that you want, the perfect experience, the perfect education, all the perfect ingredients. It's very easy. It's how you motivate or you bring up an average person, how you play with his attitude, how you make him believe in himself or herself, that look, you're capable of doing this. That satisfaction takes you onto a very different level. Now, placing faith and trust, very small words, we often hear them all the time. I mean, everybody uses them, everybody talks about them, but how much do you actually use it? Very small thing, and I'll give you a practical example. Like I said, I believe in ground realities, not in just talking English. Somebody in a team will ask for leave, maybe in one of the most trying circumstances. And generally the trend is, okay, how can you, are you lying? Why do you have to go now? Or maybe, maybe not approving, or even you approve, you will have that, some people may have that discontentment of, why is he lying? Is it he's really sick? Is this whatever? So you have to trust. Even if people break your trust, it's easier said than done, but others' behaviors should not change what you believe in. Because I've seen it work practically. You trust, you let people go, and even if you have, very, very major goals to achieve, at that time, you hold hands and say, okay, I trust you. Go ahead. Maybe when he comes back with say better sense of responsibility towards you, towards the team, towards the task. Coming to empathy, again, more or less, it's like you actually put yourself in the person's position while you're delegating, while you're talking, especially at times with the age or with, growing in the organization, people generally tend to forget that you treat people with respect, they will give it back to you. Empathy is, I'm sure everybody understands the difference between sympathy and empathy. Empathy is actually putting yourself in that person's shoes and then thinking and then dealing with your particular team member on any given circumstances. Doing a task, getting a task done, execution of something that you're supposed to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, become very easy. And in long run, you definitely bear the fruits. Integrity is something which is very close to my heart. I have this cliched statement that I always make to my team members. Like, you commit a murder, I am standing right in front of you. Nobody goes or touches you till it goes through me. But this is one issue that will never be excused. So to inculcate that feeling of, or that ingredient of this word called integrity again takes you a long way. Because like we say, when we are human, we make mistakes. When we are doing a task, human error is always a possibility, and which is human. Integrity issue only comes when the intentions are wrong. And I always say, mistakes does not harm. But when mistakes are done with wrong intentions, that is when it results in disasters. So something that if you believe in this, and you can inculcate that fear even in your team, that this is one thing that you're not going to compromise on. So you never have to let down. You never have to be sorry. Any given time. And ladies and gentlemen, coming to the last point here, like I definitely do not have a long or a very, a lot of slides on the presentation. Like I said, I believe on ground realities and practically that you do or what is possible. Ownership. When I talk about ownership here again, I'll be, I'm a little sad here when I share this with you, that whatever little experience I have behind me, this is one ingredient I find lacking in a lot of leadership. People who are or who are supposed to be leaders or are holding that role. In a little way, everybody is, but the ownership or this ingredient of being a good leader lies more the more you have bigger responsibilities. So this is something I think should be inculcated in one's team, or that's one try, is you should be able to, whether it's right or wrong, you should be able to own it. Because like they say, if you can't stand for yourself, if you can't stand for things, you'll never be able to stand ever for whether it's your team or anything. So to take that ownership, like I tell my team, the ownership is mine. You also have that ownership, but in the end, if there is something wrong happening, if there are some mishaps happening here or whatever, somebody has to answer. Then it is a leader that has to take that ownership and not blame it on the juniors. It's very, very easy to do that. The most easiest task or the most easiest way to get out of trouble is like you blame others for it. But as a leader, when you take a decision or you say this is what you're supposed to do and you're executing it, so in the end, the owner should have the guts to take the ownership of it, whether it's right or it goes wrong, irrespective of that. Yeah, Suren, we can move forward.
Sure.
Acknowledgement. Gentlemen, again, whether somebody is, I'm basically talking about like something that maybe I hope you people can connect with. So whether somebody is 2-year-old, somebody is 30 years old, 40 years old, etc., etc. Anybody says that his or her task, even if it is not being acknowledged, it does not matter, is lying. Because this is something, gentlemen, that makes your day. You want to go back to work. And one cliched statement which is always there, and especially in the HR parlance that is used, is we do not leave organizations, we leave managers. Which somewhere he would connect, which is a fact. Like coming back to my third point here, I'll give an example. A person at a very, very high designation, working abroad, very well placed, doing, say, earning in dollars, came back to his country, joined a promoter-driven company, and somebody asked him in an open forum that why did you have to leave, such a cushy job, such a well-paid job, and come back, leaving everything behind you? And he said, the person who offered me had faith in me. I will just connect this and the last one together. So in the end, one is knowing that yes, somebody has faith in you, makes you do tasks, makes you to complete your task. Like I said, makes average people create miracles in an organization. And trust me, gentlemen, I have been proud of it. And I think that's why, like I said, I've been there, so I'm saying it. Now, the same thing, if you have that person knows that yes, his leader or his boss has faith in him and acknowledges. An acknowledgement every time does not have to be a promotion or a heavy increment. You can convey that even from your eyes to your team member, that I know you've done it. A smile, a pat in the back, people talk about it. But generally, you tend to forget it. That little acknowledgement makes all the difference, gentlemen. And let me tell you, at any stage, at any level, you would not be thinking, whether what is going to be my increment in the end of the year or something. That acknowledgement makes you come with an exuberance and an energy which is genuine. And it's very simple that when you come to work with that energy, with that positivity, the whole output changes. You're happy, you're healthy. You can't have people coming and working in your team with negativity without a smile, grudging every day that I have to work with this person. It does not work. Neither for that person, neither for you, neither for the organization. Everything is interlinked. If somebody thinks it can happen alone, that's the biggest misconception. So try whenever, I'm sure, like I said, all their people who are maybe listening and who've taken out the time are more mature, more intelligent, maybe more experienced here. So I am no authority, but I am just sharing something that I have tried to do, and I've seen it make all the difference. And it's never been in my career, I can say that one has not finished a task on a given time. And in a way that there was no frustration involved in it. Because the whole team was moving together. And they knew that there is somebody standing there to hold their hands. Like I always say, if it happens right, you take the credit. It goes wrong, I'm there to take the blame. So that's the satisfaction. Suren, can we move to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
The next. Ladies and gentlemen, like when we say developing leadership in an organization, like I just made a statement that nothing happens alone. And if somebody thinks that the HR or, it's responsible, is only responsible to be, changing the whole thought of the organization. It's again, it's a very big responsibility which is attributed to this division. Not so easy, because in the bargain you'll make more enemies than you make friends. Also, if you are seeing the screen and you're seeing motivation, support, discourage psychophancy, discourage complacent behavior, etc. I also have this belief that the culture comes from top to bottom. It does not go the other way around. So it's very easy, again, like I said, to tell, people are doing this, people are doing A, B, C, D in an organization. Because somehow I think maybe a few of my colleagues or people in my hate that concept about me, because I always say that the juniors are never wrong. It is how you lead them. What have you inculcated? What have you given to them that their DNA changes? All depends on people who are at responsible position. So everybody has to make an effort. It has to be a collected effort, because HR does not deal with all divisions on a regular basis. I mean, you have your interactions, but if there is finance or there is marketing or there is sales, etc., whatever, that particular person is the one who's dealing with his team. So that person can either make or break his team. So maybe, like we say, while we recruit, so we try and make a very considered effort. Like for me, the recruitment starts and ends with attitude. I would say we hire an average person with a good attitude and maybe rejects a very brilliant candidate with the wrong attitude, because very, very difficult to change that, gentlemen. Now, coming back to motivation, you see this word, you use this, like I said. It's not something that happens in a day. It's not something that during your appraisal and feedback and then you start motivating your person. Even that is a knack by itself. Motivation has to be consistent. And again, like I said, it has to be genuine. And how are you motivating? By believing in that person, telling that person that, look, I have faith in you. You're going to do the right thing. You're there for the organization. I have faith in your capability. You're being, even while you're doing your task, or whether, the task that HR deals with other people, it may be one of the most important is during any performance management appraisal time. That is somewhere that you try and tell that person, look, this is what we're looking for from you. Support. Today's world, everybody talks about being highly individualistic, materialistic. People are scared. If they get a very brilliant junior, even if he starts doing well, I'll be very honest, you're more scared than what you're proud of. Not realizing that if your team grows, that's the only way you grow. You can't be brilliant and your team can be stupid. If your team is stupid, then, it goes for you too. So we try and tell people that, please, however, in whatever interaction we have, that hold your people's hand. Tell them that you're there. Discourage psychophancy. It's all over the world. It's now even in the army. First, we used to say, you know, maybe it's not, but it is everywhere, and we all know it. We all see it. A lot of people get away with it for a long time. But like I said, I'm only going to be talking about something that I believe in, and something that I do not ever either encourage or place it in anywhere in any psychophancy, something that you cannot thrive in it as a person. It's very easy. People are gullible to that. This again creates a lot of conflicts, a lot of troubles in an organization, a lot of biasness. Like we say when we're doing or we are appraising or we're doing this appraisal system in any organization, I sincerely believe that even 70 to 80%, if we can achieve transparency, unbiased appraisal system, it is something that any organization then should be proud of. And this is somewhere, as a good leader, as a good HR person, you should discourage the psychophancy, which has no meanings in the long run. Again, discourage complacent behavior. It's like you have to be polite. You must have a good manner. जिसे हम हिंदी में संस्कार कहते हैं. That should be, again, sometimes they are there, sometimes they're not. All kind of people make the world. To be complacent is not that, again, should be encouraged by any leader if he wants his team to grow. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're aware of this word and the meaning. If I place it in Hindi, it's called Ji Hazuri, which is not required. If you're good in your job, you're honest, you don't have to indulge in all this. In the end, one of my favorite statements of when I'm dealing in the organization, across all functions, anywhere, I use this two words very frequently, and that's, in the end, like you say, ownership and accountability. A good leader has to have this ingredient. You have to have the ownership, you have to be accountable. You cannot throw your lack of achieving something onto your juniors or to even others who play the blame games. The task has not been done. It could not be finished. You had whatever. You have to take the ownership and accountability of it with grace. If you can take the laurels, you should be able to take the lack of it also. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have too many slides on it. The only thing, or my main point in this whole presentation or my talk, like which again I'm reiterating, I'm very grateful that somebody is listening, even if it is 10 or 15 people or 20, I don't know.
70 people right now.
Okay. Oh my God, that's fine. It's leader has to have people, you know, the team or your whatever has to have that faith in you. You have to earn that credibility, gentlemen. And you have to stand for them. You have to have that courage. There's a lot of debate whether leaders are born or leaders can be made. It's a long debate. But like I said, in all this, even if somebody takes anything out of this which I have shared, I'll be happy. And keep your team together, stand for them. And you will never regret it in the long run. You will always have that satisfaction. You would always have that courage to look into anybody's eye that I did, that I was supposed to, and I did not let anyone down. So I don't know how much that means to anybody, because everybody of us have their own parameters of satisfaction levels or success factors. I don't know. So that all depends, like I said. We're all different individuals. We all have different perceptions. I'm sharing my own in case somebody can take out of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Saroin.
Yeah. So, is anybody have any question? Please, we have a 10 to 15 minutes more. Guys, if you have any question, if you want to ask with Josna ma'am, आप please पूछ सकते हैं. Anybody? The people are very much satisfied with your presentation, ma'am. That's
I don't know that, or they didn't. I hope they are, in the sense, maybe somebody, some question for somebody does not believe in it or had some other experience, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one is the guy, the name is Bharat. He's asking, I'm one first year of experience into HR recruitment, interest to move into core HR role. Kindly guide me.
The name is Bharat.
Bharat, yeah.
Bharat, you've just said that you've just started, and let me tell you what you're doing at the moment. You're doing recruitment, which is spine of HR, because it's the kind of people that you get into the organization would make all the difference. So it's just been 1 year. I would say you spend a little more time in recruitment. You get a chance first is to interact, and remember one thing: when you're interviewing people, you learn so much. It's like, I don't know at what level you would be doing the recruitment, but for the time being, my advice would be you still continue doing this for maybe another 6 months or so. And then, as deemed fit, I'm sure by your reporting manager from recruitment, as per the need of your organization and what your heads thinks, he can maybe place you somewhere else. But be open to learning and take time. Spend some more time in this, learn more, and then move to something else, to the other task, which eventually will happen. So have a little patience on that. That would be my advice.
Yeah. And Mr. Dr. Deen Dayal is saying it's a wonderful presentation, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Mr. Elia Raja is saying, could you please share few words on leadership in crisis?
The beauty of leadership is only in crisis, gentlemen. That's the whole beauty of leadership. Leadership, like I said, when I gave an example that why do you think it is the armed forces that used to talk about leadership? Because it is during the crisis that you know the worth of a leader, how much that person can hold, how much that person can stand at in the situation of stresses and not, let it go down or seep it down to the team. Say, I can only give you an example of this COVID situation, which again, I mean, I would not it was kind of a life and a death situation. So now in this situation, now what as a leader, what did you have to do? You had to be, like I said, empathy, not sympathy, empathy. You had to tell your team that the only thing that matters here is your life. You stay home, you take care, does not matter. And as a leader, we are a manufacturing unit to our, what do you say, the corporate and the plant, we sit in one place. So now if I keep saying about it and I do not do this on ground, you think people will have any respect, or would I establish my credibility? So since April, in the peak of crisis of COVID, I was on ground here. In fact, after 2 or 3 months, everybody in team or the other cross-functional role was, ma'am, don't do this to us. We feel ashamed. How can you be here on ground every day? I said, for me, it matters. For me, your health matters. I would not leave the cleanliness or the sanitization of my plant or where we are sitting till I'm there. And first, it has to be me. And the only thing, like I said, when I got out of the house, I would just tell myself and tell the virus that we have to die one day, but I'm definitely not dying from COVID-19. It has to be something better.
True. And ma'am, Miss Vaishnavi Deshmukh is asking, ma'am, which sub-dual specialization will you recommend with HR?
Do something in counseling.
Something in counseling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Psychotherapy and counseling. Yeah, that helps. Okay. Because you're dealing with people here. So something to do in counseling and psychology will give you an edge. Even legal language can give you an edge, but depends what part of HR you're following. So depending on that, maybe you can do this.
Okay, great. And Mr. Rajesh Sharma is asking, how to deal with negative boss? This is very
now this is negative boss. It's like, firstly, can I have the gentleman's name once again?
Mr. Rajesh Verma.
Rajesh, firstly, you have to come down to understanding why is he negative, in the sense, what has it triggered? There is something that triggered from you, or it has been from the beginning. Or he's totally, not open to any discussion or reasoning. At the same time, I can feel that somebody says negative boss means he will be a little stressed out or have mental pressure. Firstly, don't make anybody so important that somebody can play with your health or with your mind. Don't do that. The moment you get that off and you look at someone and say, look, you're important, but you're not that important that you're going to play with my mental peace. Come down, take time, tell him that you need to talk to him. Have a one-to-one discussion, honest, and a little introspection before you go. And then see whether that makes a difference. Because you only have to find out if there is vindictiveness or it is for a reason maybe you have overthought of. So once you're clear on that, you will have a decision with yourself.
Great. And Mr. Puneet Singh is saying, ma'am, very nice webinar, ma'am. Thank you. And I have only one question with you.
Sure.
How do you recognize the achievement of others?
I'm a 1-minute manager. Like I said initially when I was talking, it's again very funny when we tell people that, I remember in one of the organizations, I said, it's on Diwali, I said, let's give out letters to people who've done good. So I had a lot of cross-functional people telling me, when we need time, we have to evaluate. We have to have measures. I just looked at them. If you've been working with someone for 12 months or even 3 months or whatever, How come you don't know what he's achieved? That means you're not looking. So gentlemen, achievement can be assessed in 10 days, trust me. And like I said, for a newcomer, I give him 1 month. If it does not make an impact, if there is no difference since he's joined in a month, there is something wrong. So achievement is the easiest thing to assess if you're looking, and you're looking with that eye. You're looking with that attitude of acknowledging, like I said in my little presentation. That's it.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Raja Shekhar is asking, ma'am, my opinion, why leadership is not working in organizations?
You've touched something which is something which has been a point of contention. Like I keep saying, if when I leave the active role and get into actual, maybe, talking to people more, this is something that one is going to be talking of, what you've asked. We definitely lack leadership. I'm like very sorry to agree with you. Like I said, I don't know why, because we've been ruled over by different dynasties for I don't know how many thousand years, that we've just learned to be submissive. It has some way gone into our DNA as Indians. So you come across very few people who stand for a cause, who come out, like I said, as good leaders. It's a very, very unfortunate thing. And that is why what I was saying, that we need to build this thing from, with the young generation now, and people now maybe who are in their late 20s and early 30s. For God's sake, be good leaders. You don't do what's been done to you. That's something that maybe you cannot change that person, but you can change yourself. So you don't do something that you did not like. What happens is people have very short memory. They tend to do, हमने भी तो किया था, हमसे भी तो कराया गया था, हम भी ऐसे करेंगे. So don't do that. You be a good leader. But like I said, that's what I said, very, very difficult to change people's psyches. It's very, very difficult to build leaders. It is a very difficult task.
Great.
So you don't do things, like I said, that you don't like, so you become a good leader.
One more, ma'am, the name is Rashi Srivastav. She's saying, I'm a MCOM and worked in different fields for last 1+ year. Now I want to join an HR field. How can I do that, ma'am? Please guide.
You've done MBA in
MCOM.
MCOM. Okay,
Yes.
MCOM. Okay, commerce. And now you want to join or be part of HR. Sweetheart, you have to be lucky to get into an interview and crack it once, because like I keep saying, there is no qualification as such for HR. For human resource, you have to be human first, and you have to have that approach. So it all depends. If an industry is open to this kind of, they are looking at a person and not looking at his qualification. So in case you get lucky, I would wish you all the best, that you do crack some interview in this kind of an organization and get through.
Great. One more question, ma'am, from Mr. Tapas Kumar Sethi. He's saying 7+ years of experience in central PSU. How to motivate and lead in such a typical structure of government organization?
Very interesting. Put your foot down, gentlemen. Don't give up. It's like whatever you have to start, or you have to make, whatever you're planning to do to create a leadership, it's just don't quit on it, and be very, very straight. See, sometimes what happens is, whenever you have to start something, there will be resistance. There will be, because anybody is, would resist change. Don't get bogged down by that. Stick to what you have to do. Sooner or later, you will have problems coming or whatever. Don't give up. You make it very clear. So what happens is, when you kind of introduce something, we don't have the time, we've never heard this, we're not going to do this, why should I do it? I hope your management holds your hand here and gives you that kind of liberty, but don't quit. Make sure and make it very, very clear to people that this is what is going to happen, this is what you're planning to do, and it will happen this way. And the other thing you can tell your management is, if you do not want to believe in a system, or you do not want me to be sticking to it, then let's not play policy and systems. Because the moment, like you say, the policies and systems become a culture if they're followed consistently. So you will have to guide them a little bit, be firm, and gentlemen, don't give up. Just don't give up. Trust me, that consistency will help you.
Great. Miss Anuvita Vajpayee, ma'am. There is so many questions, ma'am. I hope but I'm not bothering you.
Not at all. Like I said, I am grateful for somebody sparing time on Saturday, because we are all I am very lazy on Saturday. So it's just fine with me.
Yeah. So Miss Anumita Vajpayee is asking, what's your thought on work-life balance as a leader? Was this is a challenge for you?
Yeah. Not at all, dear. Anumita, yeah. Because like I said, I do not believe in overtimes. I do not believe people sitting late. I, in fact, put a penalty on people and my team if somebody does that. So once you're very sure, any task, trust me, can finish within 5 or 6 hours if you put in that many hours. Like I've done that. I believe in that everybody needs an hour or so to talk, to kind of, rejuvenate, talk to family, take a little lunch. It is human. You cannot be cribbing and looking at people like that. So, but those 5 or 6 hours, if it is 8 hours of working, I'm just saying 5 or 6 hours, somebody's actually doing it, and you've given very clear cut instructions, you've delegated work properly. It cannot be that the task will not get finished during that time. And believe me, or call anybody who's worked with me, find out if I've ever stopped anyone after 5 o'clock. Never. And I do not call on holidays. I do not expect calls. So, lady, I've never had a problem in that. I don't believe in it. I always say that any people who sit in the office late hours either are incompetent or their leaders not doing a good job.
Great. Ms. Sanjana is asking, does MBAs in HR from distance, it's worth it, or any sort of distance education, it is advisable?
Beta, every education is worth it, let me tell you. There is no education which is not worth it, whether you're doing it, on a regular basis or you're doing correspondence. Like I said, it all depends on you. It all depends how you use that knowledge, whichever organization you get in, because you're not going to be climbing up the ladder or doing well or going ahead in an organization that whether you were regular or you were, did it by correspondence. People attend college and don't take any education out of it. Degrees is not a stamp on how well educated you are. Your education, 3 degrees, people forget after 3 years. Any degree, trust me on that. It all happens on ground. How are you using it? How are you using what you've learned? And you're using the 2 or 3 things which work is your logic, your common sense, you're taking a call at the right time. So once, when you get into a job, that's what's going to matter.
Right. And Raja Shekhar has one more question. He is saying, what is your opinion on the movement for increasing the male population in HR? First, as word.
Why? Is there a less? I have only one girl in my team, so that should answer.
He is saying, as word is over in the less than 50% should HR rethink diversity inclusion in its own department before researching on the organization. Preaching through the organization.
Population HR as world over, it is less than 15%. I mean, somewhere the male population or something is so high, gentlemen. Why are you grudging us this? This is the first time I've heard a man ask for that something should be reserved for them. Should be more. Anyway, like it's nothing to do with the male or a female. Like I said, it's anybody can do any kind of job if you really want to do it in the right way. So I wonder why people in any organization would keep this, that they only want a female or not a male. No, you go ahead. I mean, with, like they say, go with confidence, walk wherever you have to go. I'm sure you're in any organization. I mean, it's work and go wherever you want to. With all the confidence and all the competence that you have, gentlemen. Don't worry about the reservations. They're all datas.
Great. One more question, ma'am. Which is the best HR profile in terms of growth? Journalists, recruitment, talent acquisition, or etc.?
Actually, every gamut of HR has its own importance. So I would here like to say, you know, I had this habit and still do of rotating people. I wanted all my HR people, what I do is put one person for some time, then make the person move, okay, learn payroll, get into recruitment, get into payments. So it's an overall package. It will nothing be that you stick to one. I would not advise that at all. Like I said, I don't believe in being cliched. So far, if you would have judged, I believe in what is being practical. You must have the nuances of each and every gamut of HR and move forward. You must have the knowledge of it. Don't restrict yourself. So, I mean, if you're lucky enough, take that little experience from all sides.
Great. And Tapas is saying, what is the scope of HR analytics? Can you suggest any?
Very important. Gentlemen, very important. I mean, like they say today, the only thing that works in the end is data. See, if we have to understand something, we are a support function. We are a cost to the company, you know. So that's why sometimes when they are cutting the first divisions, or generally is looked at is HR, admin, chalo. Let's start thinking how we have to do the retrenchment or whatever. So here the analytical part of this is very, very important, I would say. So in case if you're working on it already, or you have to take any, you know, further pursue it, you have to do that. Please go ahead, because this is something which is now the backbone, I would say. Because the moment you have that analytical data, then that analytical aspect of this our gamut, I think you're sitting on a very strong footing. Because in the end, numbers, data on anything matters. And today's world, 100%.
Great. Ma'am, he's asking, can you suggest any institute for getting certification for it?
I mean, you have a number of, sweetheart, you'll go into Google, you have so many of them giving you the certifications. Like, in fact, they are, merit learning is something that I did from, and even you have short courses on it. There are a lot of institutes. I mean, offhand, I will not know the name, but I mean, it does not matter. I mean, do it from, I mean, whether they are, you go to a proper institution or you go to somebody who's, you know, the consultants and all also run these courses. So that's okay.
No, Rajesh Shekhar has replied here in the chat box. I hope you have seen. Leadership is not working because lack of awareness on the purpose of the organization. Ex-Indian Army theme is nation first. So whatever they do, they strongly resemble in the basic purpose.
Leadership is not working because of lack of awareness of the purpose. Yes, I would agree with you here. And why I would say that, like, I'll tell you now practically, when we were doing, or any organization, when, like I said, my focus, maximum focus is on PMS system, because this makes all the difference. So after that, we say something called feedback. Now that is somewhere people do a lot of hoodwinking, and they do not do it honestly at all. Now, I will connect your question to this is when the last person from the top down, that clarity is not percolated. You know, people don't even know why you're working or how your work is going to help. There was example, I think it was Domino's, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, because I've read it long time, so I don't know whether I'm quoting the right industry. You know, there was a person cleaning the tables in one of the outlets, and his speed was like amazing. And one person said that, how come, you know, why are you doing it this way? He says, you don't realize. The sooner I clean the table, the sooner the customer comes, the more customers that comes in and more we sell. So even that person who was cleaning that table, the organization objective was clear to him. So this is something like, this is a task which needs to be done. You know, like I said, responsible people are the so-called leaders or so-called people in those critical and responsible roles, to make sure that the objective of the organization comes down to the last of the person in the organization, even whether it's the gatekeeper outside. He knows where our organization is going, or what is it that our organization wants. Very difficult task, but it's not something that you cannot. It's a consistent process. It's not going to happen, you know, in a jiffy.
मैम, मेरे लेडी जिन्होंने आपसे पूछा था कि ड्यूल स्पेशलाइजेशन अगर लिया जाए, अगर एमबीए में, तो कौन सा ले जाए? यू सेड के
counseling or
but she's asking, I asked about dual specialization, ma'am. There are only
in HR and okay.
Yes.
So you can couple HR with marketing, or if you want to be strong in that analytical, or if you're good with mathematics, sweetheart, then maybe you can do HR and finance.
Okay.
If there is an option, I don't know whether.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So one more guy, Mr. Bharat Joshi, is asking how compliance on labor law play important role in the HR, and how to convince if owner of company give less importance to compliance.
Tell him to be prepared to go to jail. Yeah, just show him the worst clause and tell him that I will accompany you, but you will have to go. You have to be very, very strong on it. So you do not compromise on the compliances, and you do not do it with the labor forces.
Very good.
It'll be good for you. Make sure, because these days they are very, very clear. It's the director or the top man that goes in, and the factory manager. I hope you're not the one. But you should be telling them that there is, and you tell them the penalties, tell them the gray side of it. Make it very clear, show them. It's written. So tell them very clearly, sir, in case you're prepared to do that, or you have somebody holding your back, so please do let me know. I'll contact him when the police comes to take you.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Guys, last 1 minute more. Ma'am को बहुत टाइम काम है.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Thank you so much. I am glad that means somebody was listening. So it is really satisfying for me.
This is very good, ma'am.
Trust me.
It's a really wonderful. Rashri is saying thank you so much, ma'am. For session was among the best, the most thoughtful and session we had. Thank you for bringing on this content. Yes.
Thank you, Suren. Thank you so much.
So before ending this session, I would like to say, ma'am, thank you so much for your knowledge, your valuable inputs to be used by a professional student to be taken care of. And I would like to say,
I like you say, in this whole very huge universe, you're a very minuscule. I mean, you're very, very tiny. So I have no wrong notions, but I am happy that I could share something. And like I said, if it makes a little difference in anybody's life, it was worth it.
And thank you so much, ma'am. And I would like to say thank to all participants
Yes,
for being here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we will see you again, guys. Thank you so much for the same.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Josna, ma'am, once again for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good day, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Same to you.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.